I'll ruin Snow White's Christmas if it's the last thing I do.
They have this whole scene where they're trying to figure out what's happening, and I think Elora is the only one who's like kind of smart, and she's like trying to convince the others that this is the queen, and that she has a line like talking about all the bad stuff that happened, and she's like, I think it's the queen, the evil queen. Right. It needed to be specified. There were so many points in the movie where I was like, okay, how did you come to this conclusion? Like, it is the right conclusion, but how did you know? It's like, I guess the script just needed them to know this.
Yes, it was in the script.
Hey everyone, it's Jonathan, and today I'm back with Lisa for one last Princess episode for the year, something I originally wanted to cover back during Christmas in July, Snow White's Christmas Adventure. I had found this movie months ago when I was putting together a list of princess Christmas movies to cover for Christmas in July, but Lisa and I only had time to record one before then, so we went with our original choice and decided to save this one for later. Once I decided on a more grab bag approach to Christmas this year, I figured we should end our princess series with one last Snow White movie and finally cover this one. I assumed it was going to be another cheesy rom-com like the movie Lisa and I ended up covering, A Snow White Christmas. But unlike the more modern take on the story in that one, just looking at the posters, images, and clips online, I assumed Snow White's Christmas Adventure was going to be a lot more faithful to the time period and setting of the original fairy tale. And, spoiler alert, everything I assumed about this movie was wrong.
Can I just say that I wrote at the beginning, because it had me at the beginning, not gonna lie, and I wrote initially, we are so back, baby. Because I was like, yes, the way it started, I was like, I'm so excited. And then it went downhill.
At which point? I'm curious to see if it's a specific point that I'm thinking.
At the 3-minute tracking shot of Prince Charming not even Prince Charming, Prince just stuck in the woods.
Yeah, that was something.
That's when I was like, okay.
They are padding for time.
And yeah, and I watched it on the link that you sent, via Plex TV. So of course it's free with a bunch of ads. And so I'm like, this thing, it clocks in at 79 minutes. And then there were the ads. And even then I was like, they are still stretching to try and fill it, because I was like 79 minutes and they took 3 minutes to do this tracking shot. And I was like, all right. It was bizarre.
We'll get into it when we get there, but there was a certain point I was like, okay, this isn't what I thought it was, but I almost like this better. Like, not the stuff that you're talking about. Like, there was some scenes where it was like, they are padding for time. Let's move it along, people.
Yes.
But like, I mean, we could just talk about it. First, I was going to say this. I was thinking that this was going to be like another maybe quasi-religious film. Like, I didn't know who made this. I think it might actually be an Italian movie. They all speak English, but they're all mostly Italian actors.
Yes, I did notice that, because I went to go look to see if I knew anybody from anything else.
So that was a surprise, because like a bunch of these low budget princess movies that I found, some we've talked about, some I have yet to talk about, I feel like, not that they're religious, but I feel like maybe they're sort of like that Cinderella in the Caribbean that we talked about, where it's like they have that flavor, and I thought that's what this was going to be.
Okay.
And I also looked on IMDb before, and I saw that it had like a 3, and I was like, oh no, we're in for something terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. I went to look at that probably 25 minutes in. I was like, let me see. Let me look up and I was like, oh no. Oh no. Yeah.
At first, I was like, this is going to be a long movie, because it started with the mirror, which at first I thought it was like a CGI mirror frame, but I think it might have actually been a practical effect, because it was very consistent through the whole thing. And with the obvious low budget of this movie, I don't think they could have afforded a CGI character that looked as decent as this one did.
No, and honestly, this is why at the beginning I was like, okay, we're back, because it starts off at the mirror, which I was like, okay, I'm in. This is going to be fun. And he starts to lay the groundwork of the story. And I was like, okay, we're going to get a little bit of backstory. We're going to find out. And then literally mid sentence, he goes, you know what? Never mind. Just watch the movie.
The mirror was so weird. The Mirror is played by, I think, the only American actor who is a voice actor. I didn't recognize him, but he has like hundreds of titles on IMDb that he's acted in.
Oh,
So I have
wow.
a feeling they shot the movie and then I almost want to say they had him ad-lib everything.
Oh,
It did not feel like his dialogue matched anything else in the movie. Like sometimes somebody would say something that was like, okay, this is weirdly modern sounding. But like the
yes.
Mirror, like everything he said was way too modern day for whatever this was.
And I was trying to figure out when exactly this was set because it's it's very like
It's so weird.
it's a it's so weird that it's set like in times it looks like the medieval times, but
Uh-huh.
then
But then there's like modern Christmas bows and Christmas presents.
so I literally looked it up because I was like, when are some of these things, when did these some of these things get invented? Because I was like, all right, I'm going to be generous and say that technically, like, if we're going to go with the Brothers Grimm version of this was like the early 1800s that they wrote that story. I'm like, all right, let me be
Hmm.
generous and say that this is when this is going to be set. And half the stuff didn't even come about until like the late 1800s. Like, it wasn't even invented, like golden retrievers. There's a literal golden
Oh, I was
retriever.
gonna look that up because yeah, I was gonna look up when golden retrievers were first bred, and I forgot
Yes,
because
I
that
did
that
look it
jumped
up.
out at me. I was like, why is there a golden retriever in medieval times?
Yes. And I was just like, and the medieval times was even before that. And but some of the costuming didn't really match. And I get it. It's a low budget film and everybody has to make do with what they have. But there were like Christmas decorations that were obviously picked
Hmm.
up at like, Michael's or
Yeah.
Hobby Lobby. And I'm like, what? Okay. Okay, yeah, okay. So yes, we started with the mirror, and I was seduced into thinking that this was going to be a fun bad movie.
His whole monologue of like interrupting himself and was like, never mind, you'll see. That was
Yeah,
so weird. And then we have the prince who's apparently shopping. Like his dialogue is so terrible.
I I was like, why is he annoyed? Like at the beginning, it's so weird because throughout the movie, you're led to believe that he's obviously, in love with Snow White because, they are together. But at the beginning, he's like, oh God, I guess let's go find this perfect gift.
I
Like,
hate shopping.
I'm like, okay, even in fairy tales, after you meet the love of your life, he's still annoyed that he has to buy you something for holidays. Like, okay, we can't even get. Okay, I was like, this guy sucks.
But then he's like super excited over a necklace because a shopkeeper said it was made by fairies out of
Well,
dewdrops and spider webs.
yeah. And not to be okay, this shows my age because, I get, the prince is supposed to be this handsome man, but I was like, let's go back to the jeweler because he was actually quite, he's an older bearded man, a bearded fellow. And I was like, let's go back to him. He was quite nice.
The dialogue through that whole scene was so weird, but it didn't improve when you got to Snow White. Her dialogue was just as bad as the prince's. Just the way she talks to Fluffy. He
The
like he
dog.
talks to his horse and she talks to her dog, and it's just so weirdly written. I was like, what? Why?
Because I think they couldn't afford more actors because who else are they going to talk to?
That's
I'm
true.
just I'm
Yeah,
just gonna say this. That literally nothing happens in this movie. There are no stakes.
that's that's
There
weirdly true.
there are no like deadlines where people are like this has to happen before this time, or Christmas won't happen, or like Snow White gets actual notification that the prince is in danger, so she has to like save it. They both act very independently of each other
Hmm.
the entire movie, and it's only by chance at the end that they run into each other Well, not by chance,
Not
he gets
exactly by
told,
chance.
but you know
It's
what I
there's
mean?
a
But it's just like they're not
yeah.
actually engaged in either like each other's lives. There's no concern. There's no real reason for any of this to happen. And I'm just like, what was the point of any of this? It's
I think somebody just had a weird idea to make a Snow White Christmas movie and then just tried to shoehorn a few Snow White things into it. It's like the movie does not make sense. It is
it
very
doesn't.
dumb, but somehow
Yes.
I was still entertained.
Um,
Like the scene, the next scene where we go to the castle and there's like a very small group of guards. Like she has like four
yes.
guards. Two that come back. Two of them, one is a girl and one's a younger guy. I don't think we ever see them again, if I remember correctly. You only see the two guards again.
Right.
But they're like panicking because the queen is coming. And something about their dialogue, something in my brain clicked, and I was like, wait a minute. This is a children's movie.
That's what I thought. Eventually, I was like, this has to have been aimed at small kids
Yes,
because
it has to be.
it
I
was,
thought I was going into it like a weird rom-com, and it's
yes.
not.
No, no. Although the queen, her entrance, like that whole, like, oh my God, she's coming. I was like, this is very Devil Wears Prada. Like, she's coming. Everybody gird your loins. Like, she's coming. And I'm going to tell you right now that I would die for the queen. I loved her.
She's the
I
best character.
loved everything about her. And I was like, girl, be evil. Hold that grudge forever. Yeah.
All of her dialogue with the mirror, I think that is why I liked the movie despite everything else.
She was the only one that had purpose. Her entire purpose was to destroy Christmas for Snow White.
Which is such a weird plot
Thing.
for a movie.
Yes, like you are still hanging on to your hatred for this woman, and that's okay. But at least she has a motive. No
Yeah.
one else had a motive for anything. By the way, I do find it funny that I did enjoy the entire time where Snow White's supposed to be this like perfect, the most fair, the whole thing, but she can't cook to save her life.
Yes. That was such a weird plot point, but I loved that they said it and stuck with it for the whole movie. Because I thought it was like a throwaway line, because when she's talking to the mirror, when the queen is talking to the mirror, she's like furious that Snow White didn't invite her to Christmas. And the mirror's like, well, why would you even want to go? She's a terrible cook.
Right. But they kept with it. And it was awesome.
And the mirror's like, or she tells the mirror, it's the thought that counts. She tells the mirror that you didn't even send me a Christmas card. He says, I'm sending New Year's cards this holiday. It's less stress. And then she says, it was nice of Hansel and Gretel to remember me. And he says, they didn't send you a Christmas card. They sent you a court summons.
Oh, everything was so banana pants. None of it tied together in any way. There was no real set order for anything. It was just like we only knew, again, there was only one motive, and that was for the queen to disrupt Snow White's Christmas, but that was it. No one else had any sort of stakes, or because I don't understand how her, well, I know we'll get to it, but I don't understand how Snow White's Christmas was ruined at any point.
I mean, her main idea for ruining Christmas was to A, have the prince get lost in the forest so he can't make it back in time, and B, make it so it doesn't snow.
Right.
And that was enough to ruin Christmas, which I mean, if you're waiting for somebody to show up and they don't show up, yeah, I guess that kind of ruins Christmas.
But she never really seemed anxious. Like, he's not here. Oh my gosh, he's not here. It was just like, he'll be here tomorrow. It's fine.
Yeah, she had moments, but it never seemed like it was an emergency. It was like she was just mildly inconvenienced instead of ruined
Yeah,
for
and
Christmas.
I think I'm like, did I miss something larger? Did I
No.
like, were they all under some sort of curse? Was Snow White supposed to be living in the castle? Like, did this
I don't know what the timeline is, because like, okay, well, I'm skipping ahead, but like she's with the quote unquote seven dwarfs, but there's only three. And
Right.
then they explained the other four away with an illustrated series of drawings, which was
Which
funny.
is bizarre. It was
It's
an
like
immediate drawing
we don't
cut.
have we don't have a budget for four more people, so here's some colored pencil drawings of the other dwarves going off and having adventures with goblins or something.
Yes. It was weird.
It was bizarre.
Well, because I was like, are they acknowledging the original story, even if it's not the Brothers Grimm one, just even the Disney one? Is there any acknowledgement? Because I'm like,
The way they set it up, I didn't understand what had happened before this because it's like Snow White had been ejected from the castle because like in
right,
most versions she's the rightful princess
right,
and this is her stepmother. There's no mention of a father.
right.
It's just she lives in this cottage in the woods, and the prince is going to go visit her for Christmas. But the dwarves don't even live with her. The dwarves live somewhere else because four of them moved away, like far away, to do goblin things. I don't know what they're
Yes.
doing.
One of them opened up his own like blacksmith business, and then one got married, and one, I don't know. They were all throwaway things, but yeah. So
Hmm.
I was like, okay, so that's not there. And her and the prince aren't officially together, even though originally that's how they met, was they fell in love. And like in the story, like I'm even thinking of just like the Disney story, like they
Uh-huh.
fell in love and the queen is jealous because that makes her more fair or whatever you want to call it. And I'm just like, so did any of that happen? And this is
I don't think
post
so,
that?
because at the end there's the apple. Like she eats the poison apple at the end of this movie, so it's not like
Right.
like if that had happened to her before, she would know
Exactly.
better.
That's what I was saying. I was like, girl, we've been here before. Why are you eating another apple? But I was like, did they not? Okay.
I
And
kind of don't
this
think
was
that there was an apple previously.
okay. Okay. Because that would make more sense of why none of this made sense.
Yeah, yeah. But in this version, the queen doesn't have any actual magic powers of herself, I
No.
guess. She employs a warlock to do all of her evil bidding for her.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like part of the long conversation with the mirror was like spitballing ideas of who she can get to help her, and then she ends up with the warlock. And then you have a long shot outside the castle, like a panning drone shot. Well, we get like sound effects of the queen running through the castle, opening
Yes.
doors. I was like, this is so dumb, but I kind of love how dumb this is.
I literally wrote down, this is so dumb, but I oddly love it.
It's
Because,
so weird.
like, just take her to, but again, I feel like they had to stretch this out. I feel like this was
Yeah,
like a reality, like an hour long movie or,
probably.
TV
It could have
special,
been.
but they had to pad it somehow. So they injected all these weird overlays and, like I said, tons of tracking shots for no reason.
Yeah,
Anyways, yeah.
because her main idea was she goes to the warlock and says she needs a maze, an amazing maze.
Yes. An
There's a
amazing
lot of
maze.
weird lines like this. And so like they get him lost in a maze. There's no actual maze. He just gets lost in the woods so that he
Hmm.
can't make it home in time for Christmas. And then this is where you get a whole bunch of scenes of him just kind of like wandering, just interspersed throughout the whole movie. Just here's a shot of the prince wandering.
Which would have been fine if they were like 20 seconds tops each
Yeah,
time,
some
but
of
there
them
was
stretched out a lot longer than you would
minutes
expect.
with him not. And the funny thing was, is it's obviously not him riding the horse. It's a stunt rider because they have the cloak all the way covering his entire face, and he's just kind of riding.
Uh-huh.
Mostly you see him from the back, so you don't even see the front of him. And it's just, but it's like minutes of just writing. He's not talking to anybody. He's not even have a monologue. He doesn't do, he's literally just writing and we're just following him. And then every once in a while they'll jump cut to a close-up shot of him with obviously the cloak pulled down so you can see his face on top of the horse not moving and being like, I don't know where we are. And then back to just writing. And I'm just like, is anything else going to happen? No.
Some of those scenes, he doesn't even talk to the horse. He just rides.
Right. And it's just for minutes at a time. Ugh.
It was so strange.
Yeah. I had to stop it and I actually rewound the movie. Like I went back and to see where the timestamp was and how long it took for them to get through this whole dramatic ride scene, because it wasn't even that dramatic, it was boring. And for him to be like, haven't we seen this place before? Yeah, we get it. You're lost. Move on.
Yeah,
That's it.
one of those scenes, I think it was like at least a couple of minutes of him just
Yes.
riding. It was
Mm-hmm.
so strange.
Mm-hmm. And then we cut to Snow White doing nothing.
We're talking about wishing for snow
Yeah.
because that's like a whole thing. Like there has to be snow for Christmas. And like part of the queen's evil plan is that she's making it so there's no snow. Like she's interfering with the warlock's potion. She's like dumping like an apparently invisible bottle of weather into his pot or something. And then he's like tells her to get out. He'll let her know when the spell's done. At some point in there, I suddenly realized this is this is like a British pantomime. Like
Uh,
I have done a couple of episodes. I did a couple episodes previously for Christmas in July. One unintentionally, and I did it with my friend Dan, who is actually in the UK.
mhm.
So he told me that I had found a pantomime, which I did. I'd heard of pantomimes. I didn't know what it was. So
Okay.
then we went through that one, and then we ended up doing a whole other episode about British pantomime. And like, this is not exactly a British pantomime, but it's like, it has all of the hallmarks of things that are in a British pantomime. All you need is the Queen to be played by a huge burly man, and then it would have been a perfect British pantomime.
Yeah. I my one, okay, not my one qualm, because there was a lot in this. But I was like, there's exactly one black person in this movie, one person of color, and literally it's the evil person. And I'm like, what?
I think that's probably because they shot this in Italy, and I think, the only person that they brought in from the UK.
Okay, because I was like,
Maybe Snow White
this.
was also, but she was actually from the UK.
Yeah, Snow White was Italian as far as I know, because I did look up both of them because I was like, I love the Queen and I want to see if she's in anything else. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I know everybody tries, but the Queen was like, I am doing this movie. I'm
Uh-huh.
giving it all. She was in it to win it. And like I said, I would die for her.
Everything about her performance was like, this is so pantomime. Like she
Mm-hmm.
knows that this script is ridiculous, but she is in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I loved her, but I was just like, okay, this is okay. I was like, she better have a good redemption at the end, unless they just make her straight up evil, and like, then I have a problem. Because I'm like, what? But we call it during. So you were right. Like when she was doing the potion, when she was with the warlock, and they were like trying to make the potion or the spell to make the forest enchanted or a maze, whatever it was that they decided to do to him. So the entire time we see the prince riding, getting lost in the woods, they kind of cut it with the hands of the warlock, like twisting over the spell, trying to be evil. But that's all you saw were just his hands, no other part, no other. It was just, so it was just these weird cut-ins. Like he would be writing, and then all of a sudden hands over this like smoking cauldron, and then
Uh-huh.
writing. I just, yeah. I know I can't stop talking about it, but I just couldn't believe that they spent so much time on those two parts. Yeah.
It was bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of, maybe I'd have felt different if I was just watching it, but like all of the scenes where it just stopped the story to like do something for a really long time, I was like, okay, now I can write a bunch for my notes.
Yes. Yes.
I didn't have to pause the movie much because normally when I'm watching a movie, I have to pause all the time so I can
Right.
stop and write notes. I
No.
didn't really have to with this movie because it gave me so many natural breaks in the story to just
Yeah.
watch the prince ride through the forest and get lost.
Because nothing happened.
There was one scene with the prince as he's lost. I think he's supposed to be staying in the medieval equivalent of a hotel, but it looks like he's staying in a stable, except
Yes.
he left the horse outside and he's inside sleeping on hay. There's no roof. It's just basically a wall. I was like, what is this?
I I don't understand, because I'm like, he's a prince.
Yeah, it was so weird.
Why is he, first of all, why is he traveling like this? And second of all, wouldn't he have like a carriage or something? Like, I okay, I get it, budget, it's fine. But yeah, it didn't make any sense, because I was like, he's a prince. Why is he doing all this? Why wouldn't he just I don't know. Why does he have to go shopping?
I don't know.
I don't know.
There were so many bizarre choices in this. One of which being when the warlock is stirring his cauldron or whatever, he's using like a brand new looking wooden fork.
A fork. I'm glad you said that because I was like, why is he stirring with a fork?
Part of me wonders, like, did they do this on purpose? Like, did they make so many bizarre choices just to make it more entertaining? Because I was entertained looking at all the stupid things. Like how many rats he threw into the pot. Whatever those things were.
And how dumb everyone was.
Yes.
And I mean, again, maybe that was part of it. It was because it was so over the top and it was trying to be over the top on purpose, but everyone was just dumb.
Again, I think this was a children's movie, and I just wrongly assumed it was a rom-com.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, I don't think I'm the age bracket for like the age
No,
demographic for this.
definitely not.
Yeah, because you could tell like when they wouldn't just say stuff, they would draw out
Uh-huh.
every word. What? And I was like, oh, this is for kids.
Yeah, like when the queen, after Snow White has reunited with the three dwarfs, she goes back to the warlock and says she wants him to make some mischief for Snow White and her three friends. And he's like miming with a little doll making fun of the queen, and she
Uh-huh.
interrupts him and tells him she wants some mischief for Snow White, and he says it would be my diabolical pleasure.
Yes. And what do they do? Like, out of all the things at his disposal, he's like, I know what we're gonna do. Mwah, I'm going to make a butterfly.
Apparently an obscenely strong butterfly because it flies after Snow White and her friends and pushes a boulder down the hill, but it does it so slowly, and they're just watching it happen.
The whole time, I'm like, go. Go.
It's so
And then
dumb.
eventually one of the dwarves goes, run.
And then it's like a weird cartoony chase scene with a saxophone playing while they're running, and they
Yeah.
like getting out of breath, and then they pause for a little break and they lean against the rock, and then they start running away from it again.
And first of all, that thing looked like a giant Oreo. I was like, they're being chased by an Oreo. Second, I was like, literally anyone at any time could break left or right and be done with it. It would just keep rolling. And third, I was like, who edited this? Because if you noticed in the background, all the trees kept shifting. They didn't, whoever edited that scene didn't cut them together very well because
Do you
the
think they
trees
had the
would,
budget to pay attention to
well,
continuity like
well,
that?
they sure had the budget for a Foley editor because I'm gonna tell you what, that Foley editor was doing the work. Those butterfly wings were flapping.
That was the sounds that it made were like, why does the butterfly need to have this kind of sound for its wings?
I mean, those wings were flapping. And then earlier when the prince was buying that fairy made necklace, that thing was chiming. I was like, whoever did the Foley on this got their money's worth. They were like, I'm doing it. I'm going all in.
They
Yeah.
also must have had a good light budget because, like, when the guy opened the thing with the necklace, there was like light pouring
Oh yeah.
out, and then when he was sleeping in the hotel, there was like really bright. It looked like LED light shining out of a window. There was another scene where the warlock is stirring his cauldron, and there's like rainbow lights coming out of it.
I
I'm
know.
like, somebody just bought a bunch of lights and really wanted to use them and stuff.
I honestly, okay. I know that we're talking fairy tales and we're talking, nice things, but when at the beginning when the jeweler opens that thing and that light came out, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like Pulp Fiction. I was like, this is like, because I don't know if you've ever seen Pulp Fiction, but there's a whole part where they're chasing after this briefcase of nobody knows what's in it and we never see what's in it, but apparent at one point they open it and this big golden light comes out and everybody's so moved and so like on the verge of tears at whatever's in there, and they shut it and you never know what it is. And I really thought it was going to be one of those things, like maybe it was like a soul or something and we're never going to see it. And then they bring out this necklace from like Claire's that's supposed to be like, I'm like, oh, okay.
Claire was the name of the fairy that made it out of dewdrops.
Oh, I thought it was like, it just looked like the most generic
That sounds like a joke they should have made.
They really should have.
There were other jokes that they made that were like weirdly modern. Like that would have fit right in.
Yes, it was a bizarre mix because sometimes I enjoy when it's, set in an older, like set in the past, but they obviously lean into it with using modern
Uh-huh.
jokes, like, but I don't think that was the point here. I just think they couldn't decide on,
I kind of think you might be right because, like, at parts it was that, and I
yeah.
really liked that, but it was like they didn't go far enough.
Hmm.
Because, like, at the end there was like an explicit fourth wall break, and I was like, okay, I love this. Why didn't you do this earlier?
Right. They could have leaned into it and made everybody, in costume and like, set in this old time period, but then had everybody be like modern and it would have been funny.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Like the I don't dislike this movie. I did have a lot of fun with it, but it wasn't good enough that this is going to be like an instant rewatch someday. It's like, yeah, maybe. But there was stuff like that that was like, okay, I really like this. And then they didn't do it again for a while. It was like they needed somebody to punch up the script
Yeah.
because they had some good ideas. They just didn't carry them far enough.
And maybe just a couple of more scenes to tie everything together.
Uh-huh.
But what do I know? I'm just a person that just, watches the movie. I'm like, okay. Um, I did like at the beginning, when the queen is, yelling at the mirror about, Snow White, even though I'm like, yes, I love you and I would die for you. And yes, girl, I was like, are she's still on this? Because at that point I didn't realize that we were not acknowledging the original story. I just was like, are you still onto this? And I was like, you probably need to go outside and touch some grass. And then later the mirror said it. The later the mirror was like, I think you probably should get a hobby.
And take some
Should
cooking classes, start a book club.
find something to do besides this.
I think that was the point where I thought to myself, I feel like they shot this without any dialogue for the mirror and he's ad-libbing stuff
Yeah,
because she doesn't react to his weird phrases. And I
no.
wanted some sort of a reaction from her to this bizarre stuff that he was telling her to do.
Yeah, it seemed very disjointed at times because again, to me that was one of the funnier scenes because it
Uh-huh.
was leaning into the, absurdity of it all. But yeah, then there would be like no back and forth reaction, like no banter, no nothing. It was just, yeah, it was like it couldn't decide. This movie couldn't decide what it wanted to do, which is
Uh-huh.
unfortunate because I did have fun.
Yeah, me too. The next scene too, I think it was another part where it felt like they couldn't decide because like after they run away from the rock, they go back home and there's the whole scene of them trying to eat soup that she made that was apparently terrible.
That's funny.
And then at this point, I had to IMDb the names of the dwarves because I kept, after I realized that they were dwarves, I just kept calling them the dwarves in my head
Hmm.
and like the girl dwarf and the two boy dwarfs. So I was like, I need names. So I had to go look their names up. They're Elora, Hans, and Winston.
Yeah, which I was trying to figure out which ones they were going to be because I was like, oh, these must be the dwarves, and then eventually we'll meet the other ones. Like maybe they're coming. No, then we find out that
Nope, didn't have a
through
big enough budget
animations.
for
Yeah.
the other four.
And but I was like, okay, maybe this one is, bashful. Maybe this one is, but I was like, or this one's dopey. But I don't think there was any real thought into like who
Mhm.
they would mirror because they were just kind of all over the place. Like one of them was really dumb for no reason.
I don't know what their personalities were supposed to be. They were just kind of all goofy in their
Mm-hmm.
own weird way.
Mm-hmm.
I think Elora and Winston are married. I don't remember if they actually said it, but like halfway through the movie, I was like, wait a minute, are they a couple?
Yeah, which didn't make any sense, but none of this made any sense. So you just roll with it at some point. You just have to give up and, let go and let God. So.
But they have this whole scene where they're pretending to eat the soup, and then they're trying to figure out what's happening. And I think Elora is the only one who's like kind of smart, and she's like trying to convince the others that this is the queen. And that she has a line like talking about all the bad stuff that happened, and she's like, "I think it's the queen, the evil queen," as
Right.
if it needed to be specified.
Which
Not the
it was,
nice queen, the
yeah,
evil one.
which is such a leap. It just nothing leads you to think that anybody's even thinking of that at
No.
all.
There were so many points in the movie where I was like, okay, how did you come to this conclusion? Like, it is the right conclusion, but how did you know? It's like, I guess the script just needed them to know this.
Yes, it was in the script. Because Snow White's like, she would never do that. How? How do you know that? Do you know the queen? Did y'all have a relationship before? What do you mean she would never do that?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I don't know. It was just so weird. And then this is where I could not figure out what the point of this was. Elora is like trying to get Hans and Winston to leave. Like, I guess the plan is that they need to infiltrate the castle, but they don't say that. She's like just hinting that they need to go on a walk after dinner. And then Hans is like not getting the hint. He doesn't want to leave. And I think he's supposed to be still hungry from not eating enough of the terrible soup. So he yells, "The prince!" to distract Snow White, and then grabs a full wheel of cheese and runs out the door.
Yes. For no reason. I mean, well, I guess because they were, like you said, from her terrible dinner. But again, even one more scene where they're like talking in secret or something.
Yeah, make a plan, because I didn't know what they were doing until they
No.
ran out the door, and then they're at the castle. And I was like, is that what Elora was hinting at? I did not get that from their conversation at all.
Because at no point did they even allude to the fact that they could fix anything.
I don't think so.
You know what I mean? Like, we can help, we'll fix it, or because there was no reason to. What was at stake? No snow and
Yeah,
global
I
warming,
don't
people.
know. I
It is
don't.
what it is.
I don't get why they thought going and infiltrating the castle would do anything. Like, they didn't even know for sure that this is the queen. They just figured it probably was.
Right. And at this point, they kept saying, well, Christmas, she ruined Christmas. How?
Yeah.
No, at this point, Snow White has no idea that the prince is held up because he wasn't even due till the next day. So she's not worried about the prince. Apparently, there's no like deadline, like, oh, well, we have to have this done by tonight, or we can't celebrate Christmas tomorrow, or something. It's just Snow and the prince.
Uh-huh.
And neither one is very concerning to Snow White at that point, that there's no snow and that there's no prince. She's not concerned at all. So when Laura's like, it must be the queen doing all this, doing what? Like, what?
Probably, maybe the attempted butterfly assassination.
Which that was funny because she was like, I knew there was something happening. Yeah, you saw it. I mean, that butterfly was humongous. I don't think we didn't even talk about that. That butterfly was as big as my head and it was bright green. Yeah, I think you should be suspicious of that.
It was bizarre. I did enjoy the ridiculousness, though, because there's like this whole slow motion, not like slow motion, but just like really slow pantomime, like Scooby-Doo chase through the castle, like trying to hide from the queen.
They're literally right behind her at one point, walking.
It was so weird. It didn't make any sense, but again, I'm like, this is for children. I don't care. This is
Right.
really dumb. It's entertaining.
Yeah. And I didn't understand where they were trying to go. Well, it was funny when they finally they get rid of the queen. The queen leaves and it's just them two. And they stopped in front of this door and one of them's like, I think this is the magic room. And the dumb one's like, how do you know that? Like, suspicious, like grabbing him. And they look up and the camera pans up and it's literally titled The Magic Room. I did think that was funny.
And this is where I guess they find proof that this is the queen. Like, even this is not proof enough for me, because they find a brewing potion and this proves that it's the queen, I guess. Even though one of them says maybe she's just making tea.
Yeah. With all the weird stuff around them. I mean, like, it's a literal dungeon with a bunch of like creepy stuff everywhere. And
I did like the one guy's comeback, though. He says queens don't make their own tea. They have people for that. And I was like, they have people for making potions too.
yeah. But not in this movie because there's only like 6 people in the cast. So
And then they're interrupted by Snow White and Elora, who followed them because they took too long. I was like, what? This doesn't make any sense. Like, why not just
No.
have them all go together?
Yeah. They could have finished the terrible soup and all just walked together what was the secrecy for then? If
I
Allura
don't
was
know.
just gonna come and join them anyways.
Again, the script was confusing in places, and this is one of those places.
Yeah, it was just to get them to the castle, I guess, or wherever wherever the queen lives, and eventually they all end up in the queen's bedroom? Question mark. I don't know what that room was because it didn't look like a bedroom, but it was also seemed to be the queen's private quarters. So I don't know. That's where the mirror was.
Yeah, they sabotage the potion and then leave. I thought that the potion sabotage was going to lead to something else because it looked like he dumped it into a pot over the fire.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so is this going to make it even worse spell? But it didn't.
I thought it was going to break everything, and that's how we were going to end, but no, it kept going.
Yeah, I don't know. It was weird. But then, yes, they end up in the room with the mirror, and Snow White's asking him not to tell the queen that he saw them. And he's like, but why? It's Christmas. She might want to see you. I was like, is this supposed to be like Santa in a mirror form?
And then they don't talk about it again. Like, that's it. There's no plan. Like, okay, I'll distract the queen, or when she comes in, I'll explain why you're here and we'll talk about it. It's just he says that line. He says the queen might want to see you. And then all of a sudden he goes, but I guess for now y'all must escape. Go. And it's like, what? What are you talking
Again,
about?
I don't think they had much of a plan, and part of this is me wondering if some of this was ad-libbed because it didn't make enough sense.
No. And the queen, they can hear her coming and they all hide under a table and behind a chair.
Yes, you can hear anybody coming in this castle because even though the outside, it seems to be an actual castle, like they shot on location for a lot of this.
Yeah.
I think some of these rooms are sets and they have very echoey floors.
Yeah.
Just everybody's clomping everywhere in this castle.
It, and obviously it's her coming and the queen opens the door and there's not enough furniture in this room to make it to where you can't see people hiding under a table. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I these
there were multiple scenes where I was like,
yeah,
how do you not see this person?
right. It was, and of course then the queen's like, I feel like there are uninvited people here or something. And she like turns slightly and everybody rushes to the open door and
It's
she's
like,
like,
this is the only point where the floor doesn't make a
right.
clomp as everybody's running out the door.
And the mirror is like just, of course, just hanging on the wall. And so then the queen turns around and is like, I'll deal with you later. And she rushes after everybody. And at that point, I was kind of done because I was like, what? I thought the spell would be over. Like, what else do we have to do? I'm like, oh Lord, I totally forgotten about the prince at this point, that he was
That's
still,
true. I kind of kept forgetting that the prince was part of this because he wasn't part of this. He's just off in his own little lost in the woods adventure.
yeah. And at some point, the queen finally, I guess they realize they need to bring the prince back into the fold, get him back in the story, because then the queen is like back with the warlock saying,
Yeah, she's like
let's,
furious that her plans have been foiled, and I'm like, how have your plans been foiled? Like,
right.
yes, they dumped out the no winter spell, but like the prince is still lost in the forest. I feel like having two lovers separated for the holidays is a worse fate than, oh, it's not going to snow at Christmas.
Yeah.
Her plans weren't foiled that much.
No.
She's almost foiling her own plans this way.
So she's like telling the warlock, bring the prince to the castle and don't be careful with him, or like don't worry about hurting him or something like that. And I'm just like, why? Why do you, what now? What? But there was no reason like I'm going to hold him for ransom or I'm going to torture him. It was just like, bring him here. And then there's a mysterious harp player in the woods all of a sudden. Jonathan, this is when I was like, I can't do this anymore.
At this point, I'm too into it. I'm like, this is so stupid. I'm just going to ride this out to the end.
I was barely hanging on at that point.
Yeah, it does kind of go downhill from here. There are a few more things that I did like, but like most of the good stuff has already happened. Like, it's just weird. It's a weird movie. This is also where you get the lines about maybe you should try giving up evil and getting a hobby.
Yeah, I don't remember. So, oh yes, because then they go into the wood. We're in the woods again, and the harp player. But
The warlock.
They do this weird, like I don't know how to explain it. It's not even a good effect. They just at some point, like there's a woman playing the harp, lulling the prince to sleep, or maybe it's a spell or
He's like
something.
he's like being hypnotized and he's like slowly walking up to the harpist and then it's the warlock and he like magics him to sleep and then it goes black and then you're back with the warlock and he's petting the horse telling him he's got a nice stall with his name on it where he can be comfortable.
It,
It's like, why is the warlock nice now?
well, it gets worse. The warlock, but we'll get there because I was not prepared for any of that. But
The warlock drags him back to the castle and then he's got him tied up with an apparently sentient bush named Bush. Like everybody in this movie has like completely on the nose names. The prince is just
yes,
named Prince. The warlock is
right.
named Warlock. This bush is named Bush. Compared to all these, the dog actually has an actually well thought out name because the dog is just named Fluffy.
Right. Queen is queen. It- so the bush that traps him is what sent me over the edge. I'm not gonna lie.
That was so stupid that I loved it. It's like a Christmas bush with like
Yes.
ribbons all over it tying him up.
Ribbons and glass ornaments.
It's so dumb.
And at one point, the warlock is like, I think you're hurting Bush's feelings. And then not, but maybe like a scene later, the prince is like, I think the bush might have feelings for me. Like, what
I
is
think he's telling the
happening?
warlock that the bush has a crush on him.
Yeah. Oh, on the warlock?
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, what is happening?
It's
That
so
makes more
weird.
sense.
There's also a bit in here where Fluffy is outside and like somehow communicating with the prince. There's like a crack in the wall and like the prince is like going like shh. And then Fluffy runs away and goes back to tell Snow White and the dwarves. And apparently Hans can speak dog.
Mm,
It's like,
mm.
okay, sure, whatever.
Yeah, I stopped taking notes because at that point I was just mad. I was like, after the bush, I was just mad, and I was just like, I have to finish this.
As soon as the dog started running away from the castle, I was like, "How much you want to bet he goes back to the dwarves and they can understand him?" And that's exactly what happened.
Well, it's funny because way earlier in the movie, when the moment that Snow White was like, it's not gonna snow, or so, or whenever they realize it's not gonna snow, I was like, at some point in this movie there will be electronic fake snow. I just have to wait for it, and we'll get there.
I did like the scene though when he's talking to the dog. One of them says, "Can you speak cat too?" And he's like, "No, they don't like to talk to the human servants."
I know. That's what I'm saying. There were genuinely funny lines in this,
I
and I
know.
wish
I
it
just
would have
wanted more
just
of them.
leaned into that part of it and not tried to make it, because if this truly was aimed for kids, then it would have been funny because kids, it's all goofy and they get,
Uh-huh.
the loud broad strokes like comedy, and then the adults that have to watch it with them at least could have something to be like, yes, this is funny. Yeah,
Yes. I think if I had seen this as a kid, I would have loved this.
probably yes.
This is like most of this stuff is like right up my alley as a kid. Like they could have played this on PBS and I would have not thought nothing of it. This is a perfect kids movie. This is
Yeah,
not really a movie for adults.
yeah, we were suckered.
So now they know the prince is being held in the castle. They have to go mount a rescue mission and sneak back into the castle. And then they do another like slow motion Scooby-Doo chase through the castle. What they try to sneak past the guards and Elora loses one of her shoes, and then when they're like running away from the guards, she like I don't know if they're supposed to mean like she's distracting them with her fully stockinged ankle.
Yeah, yeah,
That was a very weird scene. It's like she's pulling up her dress just the tiniest bit. And like she's wearing full stockings, like big
right.
fluffy wintertime stockings. And that stops the
This
guards in
person
their
is
tracks.
covered, yeah, like head to toe covered. Yeah, it didn't make any sense.
I think that was supposed to be the joke. I wasn't sure. they were not like explicit about this. It just reminded me of other scenes that I've seen in movies where they like hike up their dress a little bit to show a bit of ankle, but she's like full stockinged out. But then it didn't matter because they were immediately caught by the queen anyway.
Right.
And she locks them in a room with a basket of apples, which Snow White immediately starts eating. It's like, okay.
Well, because the queen is like, I've prepared something for y'all or something. And the Snow White being dumb, because everybody was kind of dumb in this movie, said, you didn't have to do that. And then she turns around and then immediately, like you said, starts eating the apple. And everybody's just staring at her like, hello, it's
What if
probably
one of them's
poison.
like, what if it's poison? And she's like, the queen would never.
Uh, uh,
And then she collapses.
yeah, she's like, what? I was hungry. Like, and this is where I was like, are we not supposed to know for sure? Like, this is where I was just like, because before I was like, I don't understand how this relates to the original stories.
Uh-huh.
And then I was like, so how does she not remember that this is how she got in the problem the first time? But yeah,
This was the scene where I was like, I don't think the actual original Snow White story happened in this
yeah,
version. I think the way this is just me making up my own headcanon. I think the queen just kicked Snow White out of the house and she went to live with the dwarves for a while and somehow met the prince, and then they started doing a long distance dating thing. That's the best thing I can come up with to explain whatever for the backstory of this movie. I don't think the actual Snow White story happened.
which would make more sense than
I just
trying
wish
to
they'd
figure out
explained it
how.
that way.
Yes, I was like at the beginning when the mirror started talking, he could have told us that instead of just being
Yeah.
like, you know what, never mind, just watch the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then we go back to the room with the prince and the warlock, and this is where you get the fourth wall break, because the prince asks the warlock why he's doing all this, and he says, because I'm a warlock, and that's my character. He's like, but you could change that character. And I'm like, I love a good fourth wall break. You should have been doing this the whole time. That would have made this movie so much better.
Yes, just being very tongue in cheek about it all.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then the warlock is talking like he's going to cook the prince. I'm like, okay, is he like gonna eat him? What is happening? And then he gets out of it by saying he's got a present for the warlock. He just needs to let him get it out of his bag. And at this point, I thought he was gonna like punch the warlock and run.
Yes.
But apparently he did have a present for him, and he gives him a music box, and it's like it touches him deeply, and he fully releases him, and he's now on their side.
And miraculously changes like physically everything about the way
Well,
he
that
looks.
happens later in a way that makes zero sense.
Right.
He leads him to Snow White, and he doesn't know what to do, but he says whenever he was sick as a kid, his mother would kiss him to make him feel better. So the warlock is going to kiss Snow White.
I know he leads in to try and do it, and everybody's like, no, 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 no.
And Elora's like, no, that worked because your mother loved you. It needs to be the prince kissing Snow White.
And she looks at the prince expectantly, and he's like, oh, me. Oh, oh, that's me. I'm up. Okay, yeah. And takes the longest time, and they actually position like they change camera angles.
It's so weird.
And I'm like, just kiss her already. I know we're trying to stretch out time here, but let's go. Come on.
And then somehow this kiss magically transforms everyone.
Thank you. I did
like,
not
what?
get it. I was like, this is why I asked earlier, are they all under some spell? Are they all trapped in some
don't understand this
bizarre like Beauty and the Beast where everything's dark and and then the whole magic happens, the beast gets saved and the whole castle reform, it was the same thing. Everyone's outfits change, everyone's look change, everything changes, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah, I don't get it.
If this was a part that got cut out at the beginning, then shame on y'all, because we needed to understand why this happened now. It made no sense.
Yeah. This is why it's like, okay, this is a kids movie and they thought that kids wouldn't care.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I can think of that they would write it this way, because it did not make sense.
There was no reason for them to be like, they weren't like trapped or oppressed or.
Yeah,
like
she's just trying to ruin Christmas. I don't get it.
The dwarves were just traveling song people, right? They were just traveling musicians. or is that
I'm
something
not
else?
sure. If they
They
explained what they were doing, I didn't get it.
Yeah, and I was just like they ran across each other of their own free will. It wasn't like Snow White knew that they were like held somewhere or like they were all being held in this weird like stronghold. I don't know. It just didn't make any sense why everybody's entire looks, clothes, everything would just automatically change with this one kiss,
Yeah.
including the warlock.
Yeah, everybody's look and outfit changed, but the warlock is like a full transformation from evil, hunched warlock guy to he looks like he's supposed to be a handsome prince now.
Mm-hmm. He's actually dressed the way the prince should be dressed, but the whole time the prince has been in
Yeah, that's true. The prince has
like
been like wearing some sort of traveling peasant's clothes.
yes.
He didn't look much like a prince.
And I don't
Even
understand why
his horse kind of looked kind of raggedy.
his horse looked like in real life that horse hated that man because people kept having to come in and slyly take the horse and like hold him and like do stuff. And it was like, I'm like, I don't think this horse liked this actor because they were never really alone together very much. But the prince was also shockingly bleach blonde
Yeah, that was
for no
weird. It was
reason.
like it did not look natural. It did not
It
look like his
wasn't
actual natural hair color. It was
it
very blonde.
because his dark roots were starting to peek through, and I was like, well, who made this choice?
Was
But
it a choice or was it that this guy had actual blonde, bleached blonde hair when they started shooting the movie? They were like, well, too late to do anything about
yeah,
it now.
he showed up and he was like, look what I did over the weekend. And they were like, oh, okay.
Who knows? Who
Yeah.
knows why any of these choices were made?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is when then the queen comes in.
Yeah, they somehow get together a Christmas party in like 5 minutes, which
Yes.
apparently instantly melts her evil heart, and now she's good. She hugs Snow White, and then she gets a magical Christmas outfit too.
Yes, and it changes her outfit. And the thing is like she says the queen is like, "You want to spend Christmas with me?" Like, and it's supposed to be very touching, but I'm like, do they know each other? There's no basis for their prior relationship. Are they family? Were they family? Like,
I'm
why?
assuming that she is her stepmother because that's how the story always goes, but none of
Right.
the rest of the story happened the way it normally goes, so who knows?
So, and I just thought, why is she so touched that Snow White wants to spend Christmas with her? I don't understand any of it. And then the queen is like, hold on, I have something special. And she leaves for an inordinate amount of time. Like, she goes away, and you think she's going to go out of frame and come right back. But no, they cut to a different scene for some reason. And I'm like, so is she coming back? Is she gone? Because then they start opening presents. And I'm like, where did the queen go? And then the queen comes back with whatever she went to go get, which,
She came back with a wooden box, and I was like, is this the box that she was originally going to have the huntsman put Snow White's heart in?
right? And it was even better. It was even better. It made all my dreams for this movie come true because, like I said earlier, I was like, there's going to be electronic fake snow at some point. And my friends, that box was instant snow.
Complete
It
with magical CGI sparkles.
it literally said it on the box, instant snow. And Snow White's like, can I open it now? And everybody's like, yes. And she goes out to the window. They open the window and she opens it. And it's the worst CGI electronic snow you've ever seen in your life. But I had been waiting for it. And I literally was like, yes, it's here. I was so excited.
It's so weird.
Like, this is all I wanted. And here it is. And that's how it ended is, oh no, I'm sorry. It ended on those two guards.
Yes. We go outside and the guards are like freezing to death, but they have like Christmas bows on their lances.
Yes.
And one's like, I preferred when the queen was evil.
Me too. Me too, soldier. Give me a series of the queen doing random evil things, and I would watch every
I'd
single
watch
one of
that.
them.
Totally. Yes.
Her in the mirror, just on a bunch of evil adventures. Him just being so sick of her and all of her nonsense and trying to be like, why don't we try knitting today? And she's like, no. I'm going to wreak havoc on, and then it's just a new fairy tale person, I would watch all of them.
They did set the precedent in the beginning that this takes place in a world where there's all sorts of other fairy tales that are actually real too. So
Yes.
why not have her somehow revert to being evil, and then she can be the Maleficent type figure in Sleeping Beauty's story?
Yes. Well, that's because I thought that that's why it was a nod to the earlier comment about Hansel and Gretel when they
Uh-huh.
were going to put the prince in the soup. I was like, okay, I see where y'all are going with this. But then it went nowhere. I was like, okay. But that would make a fun, man, that'd be a nice little series of like little, like, take it one step, actually, not take it one step, go a complete 180 and make it a series of horror stories where the evil queen, like, was a bunch of like horror themed things during Halloween. Okay, now I'm getting into the weeds here. I'm sorry, but
No, I mean, like, this movie was dumb,
yes.
but I liked it. I probably would watch this again, not right away, because it wasn't that good.
No.
But there's enough stuff in here that I kind of want more from this team. Like, do some other fairy tales, but like lean into the ridiculousness, break the
Mm-hmm.
fourth wall right away, have people make more obviously dumb jokes, like all the stuff with the talking about the other fairy tales and like Hansel and Gretel sending her a court summons. Like, make more jokes like that. Don't do too much sincerity, because like they would do something silly, like the scene where they're running away from the boulder and there's like quirky saxophone music playing.
Yeah.
But then they get home and then they're like having a serious discussion about
Yeah.
what just happened. Like, don't bother with that. Just make it dumb. Make it dumb
Yes.
on purpose.
Yes. Make it dumb but entertaining.
Yes. It was like 50-50. It was like half of this was like so bad it's good, I loved it. And then half of it was like, okay, you can get on to the next thing now. I've written my notes and it's still happening.
Yes. Like I said, it had me at the beginning. I was like, this, I'm in. And the way I gauge these is when they're so bad they're good, is that I get excited to be like, tell my husband, I'm like, you have to watch this with me because it's
Uh-huh.
you'll find it, like, you'll be entertained. But this is not one where I'm like,
It didn't go far
no.
enough.
Yeah.
I feel like this would be good to like put on in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Like, have it be so like you're doing something else, and then when something weird is happening, you can stop and then watch it for a little bit, and then when the prince starts wandering again, you can go back
Yes.
to what you're doing.
Ooh, this would be a good, like, those things where it's like, hey, on commercial breaks, like, do some like sit-ups or like squats or something, or like go clean a room in your house during like commercial, where you get like little chunks of stuff. When the prince
Uh-huh.
starts wandering in the woods,
You can
you
go
could
do
get a
something
lot.
else.
Yeah, you can get a lot of stuff done. Go quickly empty out the dishwasher, and you come back and he's still in the woods. They hadn't done anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I probably won't watch this again unless I'm forced to.
I probably, if I watch it again, it's not going to be right away. It probably would be like if somebody's looking for a weird Christmas movie, like, oh yeah, there was this one with it was like Snow White, but like dumb.
Yeah, you'll be like, have I got
I
the
could
one
watch
for
that one
you?
again. That's fine.
Be like, do you have 79 minutes? Then I've
Yes.
got the perfect.
Yes.
Well, I do enjoy them in the fact that I love talking about them with you, because I'm like, this is what makes it all worth it. Because I'm like, yes, I just want to dissect them all with you. So I appreciate you letting me partake in this again.
Yes. I like doing these. The podcast makes these worth it.
Yes. Yeah.
If I was just watching this, I think I would have been a lot more bored, because like I said, anytime it got slow, I was writing my notes, so that really helped keep it
Mm-hmm.
moving. I think if I was just watching it by myself, it would have been a bit boring. But for the podcast, it's so much more entertaining.
If I was watching it by myself, just because I would have stopped at that first wandering scene, I'd be like, I'm out.
I could see that. Yeah,
Yeah.
there were a few times where it just kind of screeched to a halt. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, perfect. I can write my notes. And I wasn't even thinking about the fact that if I was actually watching the movie to be watching the movie, I would have been bored. I was like happy that it was stopping so that I could write my
Right.
notes.
Oh, that's funny.
Anyway, I think that's all we have to say about this one. We will hopefully have, I don't know, do we want to hope for something better next time, or do we want to hope for something worse?
Yes. I'm in for either. So yes, both.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Until the next episode, do you want to let people know where they can find you?
Yeah, of course, you can find me on, exciting that YouTube is letting us set up collaborations. So,
Oh, yes.
yes, thank you for that because I'm so excited now. But you can find me on YouTube and Instagram at My Bookish Agenda, and you can see all of our conversations on YouTube all together. So that's fun. So thank you for that.
Yes. You'll probably see the links below the video on YouTube if you're on YouTube. So,
Yeah,
and if you're not on YouTube, I'll have your channel linked in the description. So,
I appreciate it. Yeah.
anyway, until next time.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for listening to Every Version Ever. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe and follow my co-hosts as well. My link tree and all of our links will be in the description below. If you want more of my content, all my podcasts are available on YouTube as well as most podcast platforms. If you enjoyed this show, check out one of the other podcasts or check out my Patreon for bonus and extended episodes you won't find anywhere else. We'll be back soon with another brand new episode, so thanks for listening and we'll see you next time.